It's been a few days since we first came across the checklist, the all-empowering, all-encompassing checklist, and I thought it's about time. Now we've looked at a few more things to kind of revisit it and build on it a little bit. So you've had a week with the bare bones checklist. We're not going to fill it out too much, but we are going to add some elements that we've looked at this week onto it, just to make your writing process easier. The one thing I don't want you to do is feel daunted by this, like it's going to be some kind of massive questionnaire that you need to take 3 hours out of your day to fill out. Remember, the goal of this checklist is to help make your email writing easier. Like I say, I still use this checklist when I'm writing emails today. So, as I mentioned earlier, on the very first day, my areas of concern are this. I'm very prone to forgetting who I'm writing the email to when I'm writing for other clients. I begin to seep into that kind of mindset where I begin writing for my clients rather than my clients' clients, if that's clear. So I need to remind myself of that. I need a prompt. And again, my mind tends to go off looking for other ideas. It tends to get sparked really easy by interesting things. So when I'm making one point, I'm very prone to wandering off and making another 57 as well. So these are the things I need to keep on track. And it's this idea that I know earlier on day 5, we looked at the bare bones template and how when you get really clear on all of these and you fill it out before you write the email, it almost gives you a bare bones copy and paste email you could send out. It's not perfect, but it's 90% of the way there. That's one way of using the checklist. But the other one is just as kind of like a rudder to keep you on track, like I do. I just need a little bit of a reminder. So after I've been writing an email for a while, or I think I'm wavering off into a weird direction, I can just come back to the checklist and go, right, who am I writing this to? What's the point? Right, okay, anything else can go in the notes for another day. So it's this idea of you can use it to fill out take away as much of the pressure of the blank page as possible by getting clear on these questions before you start. But you can also just use it as a general rudder to keep you on track. So we're just going to ask, we're not going to add too much to this, just the things we've looked at this week. So the hot topic, the emotion, the story, and how the story relates to your audience. So the hot topic is, this might not be something you actually mention in the email. It wouldn't be one of the things you might copy and paste. But very often when you're writing an email, it's good to get clear in your own mind about just confirming that this is a topic that your audience cares about. So let's go back to the Golf Monthly thing. If you're writing about how to hit the ball 50 yards further, it's a reminder of that your audience really care about this. So before you start your email, what hot topic am I writing about? Remind you that, oh yeah, this is something my audience really care about, and it gives you the kind of impetus to and the momentum to carry on writing about it. So there's no more of that kind of, oh, will they like this kind of thing? If you get clear on this question right from the off, then you know that your audience cares about hitting the ball 50 yards further, so you don't have any doubt creeping in during the writing process. Remember, this is just to kind of make it easier. It's not about writing stuff fast, it's just about making your life easier. And if you're clear right from the off that your audience is going to care about this is going to be one of those cover articles, or, it's a key problem or goal they're after, or it's a mindset thing, before and after. If you're sure about that right from the off, then you'll have no doubts during the writing process. So it's helpful to get clear on that right from the off. Similarly with the emotion, it might not be something you mention. So if you're talking to a really aware audience who really knows about your service and knows the ins and outs, and they're almost at kind of like an expert level, you might not need to spell out the emotion of disappointment or frustration or overwhelm. You might just have a story that just paints the picture perfectly. But even so, it's worth, if you're anything like me and prone to wandering off and coming up with different ideas and going, oh, it's disappointment, envy, worry, anxiety, you don't want that to happen. So just getting clear right from the off is another one of those little rudders that just reminds you that, right, we're talking about nerves, we're talking about anxiety. Let's crack on with that. And again with the story, once you've got the emotion, once you've got the hot topic, it helps keep your story on track. And I've already shown you how you don't need to live like a rockstar lifestyle to have stories to use in your emails. You can borrow them from the internet, and when you know the emotion that you're dealing with in the email, that kind of makes things easier, because you don't have to look for famous stories, you just have to look for stories about disappointment or nervousness or joy or bliss or whatever you're shooting for. But the key thing here as well is, and this is why I've added another one in, is remember, how does the story relate to your audience? You know, it's this idea of, what is this really about? What is the key underlying thing here that I can use as a bridge into talking to my audience? And again, a reminder, there is no right or wrong here, or maybe even, there's no even better or worse. Because a story, as I say there, you know, if you've got a tale of finding £100 on the floor in the local bus station, it could be about any of those things. And you could write the same email, you know, every 6 months. You can use the same story to make different points in the email. So get away from the idea of thinking this has to be the best way to use this story, or this has to be the right way to use this story. As long as there's a genuine link there, it's all good. But it's good to be clear on that from the start, because when you write your email, you know where you're headed. And again, the checklist just really takes a lot of the doubt, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the uncertainty. You don't have to remind yourself, oh, do my audience really care about this? When you're, 1,500 words into like this massive long email, you know already because you've done the checklist. So yes, you can use it as a cut, copy and paste, but when you add these things to it, it's just another rudder just to help you, get sure in your mind that your audience is going to care about this and keep you on track. So this is the checklist, and just a really simple, lesson today. It's already stuff we've covered. So this is just a really simple day. Here's a couple of examples about golf market and also mindset coach, just to give you some examples of how to use this. But really, it's just about making your job easier. Like I say, the whole thing about Sent is it's not about how to crank out 48 emails in an hour. You don't get rewards for that. It's about making email marketing easier. It's about getting up in the morning, facing the blank page, and having the safety, having the feeling that this isn't going to be as hard as you think. And this checklist, just answering these checklists, because it doesn't feel like you're in email writing mode. You just answer the questions and you've done most of the work of the email. So when you face the blank page, you've got the main points in. So you're not so worried about every other, the formatting. Should I put this first? Should I put that? As long as you've got all the right elements in there, you're good. And you've written a half decent email and you can just relax and enjoy the rest of the day. So there's a couple of examples there, but really this is, again, it's just about, that early on day 3, when I talked about building a 20-a-day habit. It's just about getting into the rhythm of doing this. And as I say there, sometimes you don't need every single part of the checklist in every single email. Sometimes you'll use it, sometimes you won't. I would advise that when you're starting off and you're just getting used to it, do fill it all out. Even if you don't use it, just get into the habit of doing this, because before you ditch something as, oh, I don't really need that, I want you to know why you don't need it. So if you're always clear on CTAs and you never go wrong with them at all, and we'll cover CTAs tomorrow, but if you're always clear on that, for example, and you have no worries, you're the CTA king, call to action king or queen, then that's okay, but at least do it at the start, just so you know. So yeah, it does add a few minutes to your writing, but it's about making it easier rather than quicker. So always fill out the checklist. I just find it so much easier. So that's all I want you to do today. There's nothing new to learn here. It's just kind of taking what we've already developed and just adding it into the checklist and building that habit. So just fill out a couple of checklists and see how you translate one into a real life email. Again, no right or wrong here. It's just about getting in the reps and just following the process and making your life easier, and see what works. If you've got any questions at all, fire them at me. I'm happy to help in any way, shape or form I can. But this one should be pretty easy if you've followed it so far. We're just adding what we've already learned into the checklist just to make your life a little bit easier.